Welcome to the world of science fiction, where extraordinary tales come to life. Enjoy the journey. Randy Darkmoor stared at the contract hovering in the holo display, his reflection ghosting through the blue light. 6 figures. Rescue mission. Anonymous client. It smelled like trouble. His favorite perfume. Rescue female prisoner from remote lunar location. He read aloud, squinting at the sparse details. Payment, 500,000 credits. Bonuses include premium spacecraft, advanced weaponry, and galactic recognition. The dingy bar around him buzzed with the usual suspects. Bounty hunters bragging about kills they'd never made, smugglers haggling over contraband, and service bots weaving through the crowd with trays of neon-colored drinks. Randy's fingers hovered over the acceptance button. Something felt off. Too good to be true, he muttered, taking a pull from his Martian whiskey. His contact, a pale hologram projection with deliberate pixelation obscuring their features, spoke with a modulated voice. The client values discretion but has unlimited resources. This is a simple extraction. Are you accepting, or should I find someone with actual courage? Randy's finger jabbed the acceptance button. Fine, but when this goes sideways and I'm charging extra. The hologram flickered. A ship awaits you at Docking Bay 94. Departure in 3 hours. Everything you need is on board. Including a decent explanation, I hope. Including everything necessary for mission success, the hologram replied before dissolving into static. The ship was not just premium. It was military-grade luxury, sleek black with stealth capabilities that would make government spies weep with envy. Inside, Randy found weapons he'd only seen in classified catalogs, detailed maps of a monastery complex, and a refrigerator stocked with actual Earth beer. Someone really wants this woman, he whistled, running his hand along the leather captain's chair. A metallic clank interrupted his admiration. Something cubic and silver, roughly the size of a toaster, hovered into the cockpit. It rotated in the air, revealing digital eyes on each side that blinked in sequence. "Energize your galaxy with Starstorm," the cube announced at deafening volume. Randy jumped back, hand instinctively going to his blaster. "What the hell?" The cube spun enthusiastically. "Maximum performance for maximum adventures." "Are you part of the ship's systems?" Randy asked, holstering his weapon. The cube floated closer, its eyes blinking rapidly. "Starstorm, when one galaxy isn't enough." Randy waved his hand through the space around the cube. "You broken or something?" "Peak efficiency for peak experiences." The cube executed a perfect flip and hovered expectantly. Randy sighed. "Great, an advertising droid with a malfunction." He turned his attention back to the ship controls, ignoring the cube that now followed him like an eager puppy. "Computer, set course for the coordinates in the mission briefing." The ship's AI responded immediately. "Course set for Sanctus Lunar Colony, Monastery Sector. Estimated arrival, 18 standard hours." The engines hummed to life as Randy strapped himself in. The advertising cube secured itself to a magnetic panel, still blinking contentedly. "This better be worth it," Randy muttered as the ship broke atmosphere. Sanctus Lunar Colony appeared in the view screen as a desolate, cratered landscape, with a single massive structure dominating the horizon, the Monastery of Eternal Discipline. The building resembled a fortress more than a religious retreat, with high walls of lunar stone and watchtowers topped with what suspiciously looked like defense turrets. "Some monastery," Randy remarked, activating the landing sequence. "Computer, any life signs?" Approximately 73 organic entities detected within the monastery complex, one significantly larger energy signature in the central chamber. The advertising cube detached itself from the wall, spinning excitedly. "New tastes for new sensations. Try it today." "Shut up," Randy growled, strapping on his tactical gear. He checked his stunner, grappling hook, and shield generator. "Computer, maintain stealth mode and be ready for emergency extraction. If I'm not back in 3 hours, leave without me." "Understood. Self-preservation protocols active." Randy paused at the airlock. "And keep that advertising thing locked aboard." The cube emitted a sad beep, its eyes dimming slightly. "Fine," Randy sighed. "You can come, but no shouting slogans. You'll get us both killed." The cube brightened immediately and attached itself to Randy's backpack. Infiltrating the monastery proved suspiciously easy. The guards were minimal, the security systems outdated. Randy slipped through the shadows of the imposing structure, following the energy signature on his wrist scanner. The corridors were lined with ancient texts and meditation chambers where robed figures sat motionless, seemingly unaware of his presence. "Some prison," he whispered to himself, ducking behind a pillar as 2 monks walked past, deep in conversation. "These don't look like guards, more like actual monks." The cube on his back vibrated softly but remained mercifully silent. According to the scanner, the target was just ahead in the central meditation chamber, a massive circular room with a domed ceiling that mimicked the star patterns of the native galaxy. Randy crouched behind the entrance, peering into the dimly lit space. In the center of the room, floating 3 feet above the ground in a meditation pose, was the most striking woman Randy had ever seen. Her skin was a deep emerald green that seemed to glow from within. Her black hair cascaded around her in weightless waves, moving as though underwater. Her face combined sharp angles with sensual curves, high cheekbones, full lips, and eyes closed in concentration. She wore minimal ceremonial armor that accentuated her powerful, athletic build. Randy checked his mission brief again. "That doesn't look like a prisoner," he whispered. As if hearing him, the woman's eyes snapped open, brilliant gold irises that seemed to illuminate the room. She uncrossed her legs and gracefully descended to the floor. "I sense an intruder," she announced, her voice resonating through the chamber. "Show yourself or I'll extract your spine through your nostrils." Randy winced, not the greeting he'd expected from a damsel in distress. He stepped into the chamber, hands raised. "Hi there. I'm Randy Darkmoor. I'm here to, rescue you?" The woman tilted her head, studying him with those unnerving golden eyes. They swept over him from head to toe, lingering in ways that made him feel like he was being assessed as both threat and something else entirely. "You are human," she stated, circling him with predatory grace. "Last time I checked, yeah." Randy maintained eye contact, which took considerable effort given the distracting way her body moved. "I am Tiffany Nocthyrus, last descendant of the warrior house of Nocthyrus. I have spent 20 years in meditation and combat training." She stopped directly in front of him, close enough that he could feel her heat. 20 years without seeing a man. Randy swallowed hard. "Look, there seems to be a misunderstanding. My contract says you're a prisoner needing rescue." A smile curved her lips, revealing teeth slightly sharper than human standard. "I came here voluntarily to master the 67 disciplines." "So, you don't need rescuing?" Tiffany stepped closer, sniffing the air around him. "I did not. Until today." "What changed today?" "My biorhythm cycle has entered its 20th year phase." She said this as if it explained everything. Randy took a cautious step back. "And that means—" "It means," she growled, her eyes flashing, "that I've spent 20 years without a man, and you're just standing there." "I usually prefer running in situations like this," Randy said, calculating the distance to the exit. Tiffany's laugh was both musical and terrifying. "Incorrect strategy, Earthling." Before Randy could react, she moved with inhuman speed, grabbing him by the collar and lifting him effortlessly. "Wait, this isn't—" His protest was cut short as she threw him over her shoulder like a sack of grain. The advertising cube detached from his pack and spiraled around them excitedly. "New experiences await with Starstorm." Tiffany paused, staring at the cube. What is this device? Broken advertising droid, Randy managed to say while hanging upside down. Came with the ship. Look, can we discuss this like rational adults, with me not being carried? No time for discussion, Tiffany declared, striding toward a side chamber with Randy still slung over her shoulder. The cosmic alignment is optimal, and my meditation cycle must be completed with a partner phase. Randy struggled ineffectively against her iron grip. Partner phase? What exactly does that entail? She kicked open an ornate door revealing a chamber with cushioned meditation platforms. It requires deep personal connection and energy exchange. That sounds suspiciously like a euphemism, Randy muttered. It is not euphemistic, Tiffany replied, finally setting him down. It is essential. The monks believe I should complete my training without this phase, but they are wrong. The ancient texts are clear. The final discipline requires— She locked eyes with him. Intimate exchange. A sudden commotion erupted outside the chamber. Shouts, running footsteps, and the distinctive sound of alarm bells. They've discovered my intention, Tiffany said, grabbing a ceremonial staff from the wall. They will attempt to stop us. Stop us from what exactly? Randy demanded, although he was beginning to get a very clear picture. Tiffany's golden eyes flashed. From leaving, from completing my cycle, from— She grabbed his face with one strong green hand. From me taking what 20 years of discipline has earned me. The advertising cube zipped between them, blinking frantically. New tastes for new sensations. Try today. The door burst open as 3 monks in combat stance appeared, wielding energy staffs. Nocthyrus! Step away from the outsider, the lead monk commanded. Your training must be completed without corruption. Tiffany whirled to face them, pushing Randy behind her protectively. The ancient texts speak of the final phase. You have hidden this knowledge, keeping me from true mastery. The monks advanced cautiously. The temptation of the flesh weakens the discipline of the mind. We protected you from distraction. Protected? Tiffany snarled. Or controlled? I am taking this human and completing my training properly. Randy raised his hand. Do I get a say in this? No, both Tiffany and the monks replied in unison. The lead monk activated his energy staff, its tip glowing blue. We cannot allow this. The consequences could be catastrophic. Alarms blared throughout the monastery as Randy sprinted down the corridor, dodging energy bolts that scorched the ancient stone walls. Tiffany had released him only after they'd crashed through the main meditation hall, scattering monks in every direction. This way, she shouted, effortlessly tearing a metal door from its hinges and hurling it at their pursuers. A mechanical guardian, 7 feet of articulated metal and pulsing energy cores, stomped toward them, its optical sensors locking onto Randy. Why do they want to keep you here so badly? Randy gasped, diving behind a stone column as a laser blast vaporized the spot where he'd stood. Are you their goddess or something? Tiffany laughed, a sound both melodic and terrifying as she charged directly at the mechanical guardian. I am the strongest among them, she explained, driving her fist straight through the robot's chest cavity and ripping out a glowing power cell. The machine collapsed in a shower of sparks. But they fear that finding a male partner will make me forget the path of self-discipline. The destroyed guardian's companions rounded the corner, 3 more metal monstrosities, each armed with energy staves. And if I pressed for the real reason? Randy asked, firing his stunner at an approaching monk. Tiffany grabbed Randy by the waist and effortlessly tossed him over a 12-foot wall before leaping over herself. She landed in a crouch beside him, her golden eyes flashing with mischief. I accidentally incinerated half the monastery when I first dreamed of a man, she whispered, helping him to his feet. Her touch lingered longer than necessary. Randy's eyes widened. Half the— Wait, from a dream? I have very vivid dreams. She winked. Imagine what might happen when I'm awake. Before Randy could process that terrifying implication, the advertising cube zoomed around the corner, beeping frantically. A squadron of monks pursued it, energy weapons drawn. We're trapped, Randy said, checking his depleted stunner. Unless you've got another wall you'd like to throw me over. The cube suddenly expanded, projecting a shimmering field around them. The monks stopped, confused, looking directly at Randy and Tiffany but seeming unable to see them. Invisibility Premium Package. For true connoisseurs of adventure, the cube announced, though somehow its volume remained contained within their protective bubble. That's actually useful, Randy admitted, watching the monks search in confusion. Tiffany nodded approvingly at the cube. Your metal pet has surprising abilities. It's not never mind. The hangar is that way. We need a ship. They moved cautiously through the monastery's outer complex, the holographic field masking their presence. The cube floated ahead, occasionally emitting soft directional beeps when security systems needed to be avoided. The hangar contained several outdated shuttlecraft and a sleek black vessel that Randy immediately recognized as military grade. That one, he pointed, fast enough to outrun anything they'll send after us. They boarded quickly, Randy sliding into the pilot's seat while Tiffany examined the control panels with casual interest. You know how to fly this? She asked, running green fingers along the navigation system. I can fly anything. Randy activated the engines, which purred to life. Assuming your monk friends don't have an anti-theft system installed. As if on cue, massive hangar doors began closing and security turrets descended from the ceiling. Time to find out, Tiffany said, strapping herself into the co-pilot seat. Randy punched the throttle and the shuttle shot forward. The hangar doors were nearly closed. A gap barely wide enough for the ship remained. We're not going to make it, he muttered, calculating trajectories. Tiffany grinned. Yes, we will. She slammed her fist against the weapons console, activating forward cannons that blasted the doors, creating a jagged hole just large enough for their passage. The shuttle screamed through the opening, metal scraping against metal as they barely cleared the gap. Behind them, the monastery grew smaller, energy blasts from defense turrets falling short of their rapidly accelerating craft. Nice shooting, Randy admitted, plotting a course away from the lunar colony. 20 years of discipline has its advantages, Tiffany replied, studying him with undisguised interest. So does 20 years of anticipation. The cube droid attached itself to a charging station, blinking contentedly. Escape successful. Celebrate with Starstorm. Randy activated the autopilot once they cleared the moon's orbit. We should be safe for now. I need to check the engines, make sure we didn't damage anything during our dramatic exit. As he stood, the ship lurched violently. Warning lights flashed across the console. Gravitational drive malfunction, the ship's computer announced. Emergency shutdown initiated. The artificial gravity vanished instantly. Randy's feet left the floor as he floated upward, grabbing for a handhold and missing. Tiffany likewise drifted from her seat, but with considerably more grace, as if weightlessness were her natural state. The monks must have damaged the drive, Randy said, trying to propel himself toward the control panel. Tiffany floated toward him, her black hair billowing around her face like dark flames. She caught his arm, stopping his awkward drifting. How interesting, she murmured, circling him in the zero-gravity environment. Her movements were fluid, cat-like. In zero gravity, wrapping my legs around you would be much more convenient. Randy swallowed hard, suddenly very aware of how close she was, her emerald skin luminous in the dim emergency lighting. Well, we really should focus on fixing our flight path, he stammered, trying to maintain his concentration as she drifted closer. A smile curved her full lips. Isn't it obvious? She reached for him, her golden eyes locked on his. My path is you. The cube droid beeped once and propelled itself toward the engine room, its electronic voice fading as it left. Maximum pleasure guaranteed. Tiffany's fingers traced the contour of Randy's jaw. I believe I should conduct a thorough investigation of human anatomy, she whispered. For scientific purposes, of course. Of course, Randy agreed, his resistance crumbling as her other hand found the zipper of his flight suit. Science is important. Her laugh was low and rich. This is just the preliminary investigation. Wait until we begin the ancient warrior ritual of ground subjugation. That sounds intense. You have no idea. Their bodies drifted together in the starlit cabin, spinning slowly as clothing was discarded into the weightless environment. Tiffany's green skin contrasted with Randy's, her strength both intimidating and exhilarating as she demonstrated considerable expertise for someone with supposedly no experience. Quick learner, Randy gasped as she executed a particularly impressive zero-gravity maneuver. 20 years of theoretical study, she replied, her golden eyes glowing in the darkness. Time for practical application. The stars wheeled past the viewport as they floated through the cabin, locked together. Just as Randy felt like he might actually die from the experience, a fate he was increasingly willing to accept, the gravitational drive sputtered back to life. Gravity returned without warning. They fell together onto the captain's bed, landing with a surprise tangle of limbs. Perfect timing, Tiffany purred, pinning Randy beneath her. Now for the ground subjugation portion of our program. Hours later, Randy lay exhausted beside Tiffany, staring at the ceiling while she traced patterns on his chest with a green finger. So, he managed, finally catching his breath, that was educational. Merely the introductory course, she replied, her eyes half closed with satisfaction. We have many disciplines yet to explore. The ship's communication system suddenly chirped, displaying an incoming message. Randy reached for the bedside control panel, activating the screen. A familiar face appeared. Jake Corsair, Randy's former partner in smuggling operations. They'd parted ways 2 years ago after a disastrous job that nearly got them both killed. "Randy, you're alive!" Jake's smile looked strained. "Great news, buddy." Randy sat up, suddenly alert. "Jake? How did you find this communication frequency?" "Oh, you know me. I keep tabs on old friends." Jake's eyes flicked to Tiffany, widening appreciatively. "Very interesting friends, I see. Listen, you need to change course immediately. You're heading into a patrol zone." Tiffany leaned forward, golden eyes narrowed. "Your friend seems concerned." "My ex-friend," Randy corrected. "What patrol zone, Jake? According to my charts, this is neutral space." Jake's image flickered. "Things change fast. Look, there's a lot you don't know about your passenger. You've stumbled into something big." The cube droid zoomed into the room, spinning agitatedly. "Thrilling plot twist with every sip of Starstorm." Jake's eyebrows shot up. "What the hell is that thing?" "Broken advertising droid," Randy explained. "What don't I know about Tiffany?" Jake lowered his voice. "She's not just some random monk, Randy. She's the last heir of the Nocthyrus line. Do you have any idea what that means?" Tiffany's posture stiffened. "How does he know this?" "It means," Jake continued, "that she's the only person alive who knows the formula for the ancient energy source that powered her ancestors' empire. An energy source that could shift the balance of power in the galaxy." Randy turned to Tiffany. "Is this true?" Before she could answer, Jake continued. "You didn't just happen to find her, Randy. You were sent. This whole thing was orchestrated." The droid spun faster, its electronic eyes blinking red. "Exciting developments require decisive sips." "By whom?" Randy demanded. "By people you don't want to mess with. Listen, I can help you. I have connections. Meet me at the coordinates I'm sending," and Tiffany reached over and cut the transmission. "He's lying." "About what part?" "I don't know yet." She rose from the bed, her perfect form silhouetted against the stars. "But your unexpected arrival, this convenient rescue, and now your old partner appearing. This is not coincidence." The ship's proximity alarm suddenly blared. The computer's voice cut through the cabin. "Multiple vessels approaching. Identification. Mixed signatures. Primarily mercenary class." Randy scrambled for his clothes. Perfect timing. Tiffany dressed with remarkable efficiency, her body language shifting from sensual to predatory in seconds. "We are being hunted," she observed, "by mercenaries, by your former friend, perhaps by the Galactic Council itself, if they believe I possess what they think I do." "And do you?" Randy asked, strapping on his blaster. Tiffany's smile was dangerous. What do you think? The cube droid bobbed between them, spinning anxiously. Thrilling plot twists with every sip of Star Storm. Randy checked the scanner. At least 3 ships on intercept course. We're outgunned and outmanned. But not outsmarted, Tiffany replied, cracking her knuckles. I've spent 20 years preparing for battle. I thought you were preparing for many things, she cut him off with a wink, including this. Now, show me how well you fly this thing when you're properly motivated. Randy's hands flew across the controls, the ship lurching as he executed a barrel roll to avoid laser fire from the lead mercenary vessel. Tiffany braced herself against the cockpit wall, her golden eyes tracking the enemy formations with practiced precision. Shields at 63%, she announced, studying the defense readouts. Their targeting systems are military grade. These aren't standard mercenaries. Randy grimaced. Nothing about this mission has been standard. He yanked the ship into a steep dive, narrowly avoiding a barrage of ion torpedoes. Can you operate the defense grid? I need to focus on flying. Tiffany slid into the weapon seat, her green fingers dancing across the interface with surprising familiarity. 20 years of meditation included extensive tactical simulations, she explained, noticing his surprised look. The monks believed in balanced training. Convenient, Randy muttered, sending the ship into a complex evasive pattern through a nearby asteroid field. Any other hidden talents I should know about? The corner of her mouth curved upward. You discovered several last night. Speaking of which, Randy banked hard to port as a mercenary ship screamed past them, guns blazing. That double grip technique, that's not in any human manual I've ever seen. Tiffany fired a precision burst, catching the pursuing ship's engine nacelle. It spun out of control, crashing into a nearby asteroid. Traditional warrior technique of my people, she said with a satisfied smirk. The double embrace of conquest. Normally used to immobilize opponents in combat, but I found it has other applications. The cubic droid, which had been unusually quiet, suddenly began flashing red lights and spinning frantically in the cockpit. Decisive moment requires decisive sip. What's wrong with that thing? Randy asked, executing another defensive maneuver. Tiffany narrowed her eyes at the droid. Its behavior has been increasingly erratic, almost as if the ship rocked violently as a direct hit bombarded their rear shields. Warning klaxons blared. We can't keep this up, Randy shouted above the alarms. We need a plan beyond "don't die horribly in space." Tiffany scanned the tactical display. There, she pointed to a massive orbital station half hidden behind the largest asteroid. A mercenary outpost. We can dock and confront them directly. Confront them? There could be hundreds of mercs in there. Her golden eyes flashed. You've seen what I can do to one man. Imagine what I'll do to my enemies. Randy swallowed hard, remembering exactly what she could do. Fair point. Hang on. He pushed the throttle to maximum, sending their ship hurtling toward the station. 3 mercenary vessels pursued, lasers streaking past their viewports. They're not trying to destroy us, Tiffany observed. They want us alive. That's rarely a good sign, Randy replied, targeting the station's docking bay. Ready for a crash landing? Tiffany grinned, unstrapping from her seat. I prefer to call it an aggressive arrival. The ship screamed into the docking bay, skidding across the metal floor in a shower of sparks. Emergency foam deployed automatically, cushioning the impact as they slammed into a cargo container. Aggressive enough for you? Randy asked, wiping blood from a cut on his forehead. Adequate, Tiffany replied, already retrieving weapons from the ship's locker. She tossed him a blaster rifle and strapped an energy blade to her thigh. You're more skilled than you let on. The secret to a long life is low expectations, Randy quipped, checking his weapon. People underestimate you, then you survive. Tiffany's expression softened momentarily. You're worth more than survival, Randy Darkmoor. Before he could process that unexpected sentiment, the droid zoomed between them, its red lights pulsing urgently. Confrontation imminent, maximum refreshment required. Security alarms wailed throughout the station. The docking bay doors slid open, revealing a squadron of heavily armed mercenaries. "Surrender the Nocthyrus woman and you may live," their leader announced through an amplified mask. "You okay, but now we'll have to fight off half the galaxy," Tiffany said, activating the ship's shields as temporary cover. Randy checked his ammunition and grinned. "You know, for the first time, I feel like the job is worth the effort." "You're finally thinking like a warrior," she smiled, charging the ship's external cannons. The droid's behavior grew increasingly bizarre, its lights blinking in complex patterns as it bobbed frantically between them. "Decisive moment requires decisive sip. Decisive moment requires decisive sip." Randy exchanged a look with Tiffany. "On three?" She nodded, dropping into a fighting stance. "1, 2, 3. They burst from behind the ship's shield, Tiffany moving with blinding speed while Randy provided covering fire. She was magnificent in battle, a green blur of lethal precision, her body flowing from one mercenary to the next. Where Randy shot and ducked, she simply tore through opponents, her energy blade cutting clean arcs through armor and weapons alike. "Left!" she shouted, and Randy dropped to one knee, firing at the mercenary attempting to flank them. They fought their way through the docking bay into the station's main corridor, leaving a trail of groaning mercenaries in their wake. Tiffany hadn't killed a single one, just disabled them with ruthless efficiency. "The command center should be 2 levels up," Randy said, consulting the station schematic on his wrist computer. "Whoever's behind this will be there." The cubic droid zoomed ahead, seemingly guiding them through the station's labyrinthine corridors. Its erratic behavior had transformed into something purposeful, leading them away from security patrols and through maintenance tunnels. "I'm beginning to think your little friend isn't broken after all," Tiffany observed as they followed it up an emergency access shaft. The command center doors loomed ahead, heavily reinforced and locked with biometric security. The droid hovered before the security panel, projecting a beam that bypassed the system entirely. The doors slid open. Inside, instead of the expected mercenary command staff, they found an elaborate film set. Camera drones hovered in formation. Lighting rigs illuminated a central stage designed to look like a corporate boardroom. "What the hell?" Randy lowered his weapon in confusion. The cubic droid zoomed to the center of the room and expanded to twice its normal size. It projected a holographic image, a well-dressed man with an artificial smile and perfect hair. "Congratulations, Randy Darkmoor," the hologram announced with rehearsed enthusiasm. "You have been selected to participate in our interactive marketing campaign." Randy and Tiffany exchanged bewildered looks. "What is this?" Tiffany demanded, her energy blade still humming. The hologram continued, unperturbed. "I'm Maxwell West, CEO of Starstorm Beverages, the galaxy's newest sensation in energy refreshment, and you, my friends, are the stars of our most ambitious advertising campaign yet." Randy's jaw dropped. "Advertising campaign?" "Precisely." The hologram beamed. "Our market research indicated that authentic, unscripted adventure would resonate with our target demographic. So we created one. The monastery, the mercenaries, even your old friend Jake, all actors in our cosmic production." Tiffany's golden eyes narrowed dangerously. She turned to Randy, energy blade raised. "You knew? This was all a performance? I swear I had no idea." Randy backed away, hands raised defensively. "I thought this was a real rescue mission." The hologram chuckled. "Oh." Mr. Darkmoor was completely in the dark. His genuine reactions were essential to our campaign's authenticity. "But you, Miss Nocthyrus, surely you suspected something." Tiffany's blade lowered slightly. "I knew nothing of this deception." "Ah." Maxwell's smile faltered momentarily. "Well, this is awkward. You see, your grandfather arranged everything before his passing." "My grandfather?" Tiffany's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "Indeed, the great Zorax Nocthyrus, last keeper of your family's energy formula. He approached us with an extraordinary proposal. Your family's ancient energy source could be reformulated into the galaxy's most potent beverage, but he had one condition." "What condition?" Tiffany demanded. Maxwell's hologram spread its hands. that his granddaughter find a worthy companion after her 20 years of training. He believed only a true adventure would reveal a partner worthy of the Nocthyrus legacy. So we arranged one. Randy stared in disbelief. You're saying this entire mission, the contract, the monastery, the chase, was all to set us up? Precisely. Maxwell clapped his holographic hands. And it worked brilliantly. The chemistry between you two is exactly what our marketing department hoped for. Your daring escape has already gone viral on 17 star systems. Tiffany lowered her weapon completely, shock evident on her face. My grandfather sold our sacred family secret for a beverage. Not just any beverage, the hologram corrected. Starstorm, the energy drink that powers galaxies, and you both are now the official faces of our brand. As if on cue, the command center wall panels slid away, revealing massive marketing displays of Randy and Tiffany in heroic poses, with Starstorm emblazoned across them in glowing letters. Randy groaned. You've been filming us this whole time? Only the action sequences, Maxwell assured him. We respect privacy during intimate moments, though our viewership numbers would have been astronomical. Tiffany stormed toward the hologram, blade raised. You manipulated me, used my heritage for profit. With your grandfather's blessing, Maxwell reminded her, and generous compensation. You are now the majority shareholder in Starstorm Beverages, worth approximately 4 billion galactic credits. Randy whistled despite himself. And to activate the final phase of our campaign, Maxwell continued, Mr. Darkmoor simply needs to press that button on the console to his right. Randy looked at the indicated console. A single red button pulsed invitingly. Don't you dare, Tiffany warned. What does it do? Randy asked the hologram. It activates the original Nocthyrus energy source that powers our product, launching our galaxy-wide marketing campaign. Your faces will appear on every holographic display in civilized space. Randy hesitated. And if I refuse? Maxwell's smile never wavered. Then the mercenaries outside this door, our actual security team, not actors, will be forced to take more persuasive measures. Tiffany moved to Randy's side. My grandfather was a conniving old fool, but he would not have trusted this man completely. There must be something else happening here. Randy studied the console, noticing a secondary control panel partially hidden beneath. I think you're right. With lightning reflexes, he dropped to one knee and accessed the hidden panel, triggering a secondary protocol. The room's screens flashed with data, the true formula of the Nocthyrus energy source. No! Maxwell's hologram flickered in alarm. That's proprietary information. Tiffany scanned the displays, her expression clearing. As I suspected, my grandfather encoded a failsafe. The formula they've been using is incomplete, harmless but ineffective. The true formula would only be revealed if a worthy heir found the hidden trigger. Randy grinned. So all this was a test, not just for me, but for them too. Precisely. Tiffany turned to the increasingly distressed hologram. My grandfather didn't sell out. He was ensuring only worthy partners received our legacy. Before Maxwell could respond, Randy pressed the primary button. Let's see what this does then. The room hummed with power as the Nocthyrus energy source activated. Every screen in the command center, and presumably throughout the galaxy, displayed Randy's face with the message. Thank you for becoming the face of the new Starstorm energy drink. Buy now. Randy covered his face. Oh great, my eternal shame. Tiffany laughed, pulling his hands away. You're mine now anyway, and we have 20 years to make up for. Yeah, Randy agreed, pulling her close. Let the galaxy wait. As they embraced, the cubic droid hovered beside them, its mission complete. Its display blinked happily. Starstorm, when one galaxy isn't enough. Beyond the viewport, stars wheeled in eternal patterns. Within a private suite aboard a luxury starliner bound for the outer systems, Randy Darkmoor and Tiffany Nocthyrus had found their own version of seclusion, this time by choice. The cubic droid, now permanently set to privacy mode, floated unobtrusively in the corner, occasionally projecting the latest sales figures of Starstorm Beverages, now the fastest-growing company in 3 galactic quadrants. Some might call it a happy ending. Tiffany called it the beginning of her next 20-year cycle. Randy simply called it the best contract he'd ever accidentally signed. The end. From the author. Dear Star-Crossed Reader, if you've made it this far through Randy and Tiffany's cosmic adventure, you're probably experiencing the same withdrawal symptoms that plague all thrill seekers when the ride ends. Don't worry, that's perfectly normal after 20 years, or a few minutes, of pent-up narrative tension. Like Tiffany discovering human anatomy for the first time, or Randy realizing he's now the galactic equivalent of the got milk guy. Sometimes the most unexpected journeys lead to the most satisfying destinations. Was this ridiculous? Absolutely. Was it also exactly what you needed right now? I'm betting your answer is somewhere between hell yes and pass me another chapter. The universe works in mysterious ways. Sometimes it's saving galaxies, sometimes it's selling energy drinks, and sometimes it's just finding the right green-skinned warrior woman to throw you over a monastery wall. Did this story work for you? Did it hit that sweet spot between absurdity and sincerity that makes space opera so delicious? Drop me a line and let me know. After all, the sequel, 40 Years with a Man, Still Not Enough, isn't going to write itself. Until our next adventure through the cosmos, your faithful narrator. P.S. No cubic advertising droids were harmed in the making of this story, though several were mildly embarrassed.